Heidi. Hi, Melissa. My name is Emma, and I'm with Next Best Picture. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for your time today. I loved seeing you in this film. I kind of love it. We get to see a mix of a lot of different genres that we've seen you in before. So, how perfect for Halloween. I guess I'll kind of start there. Of course, we have a little bit of horror elements with this film. Definitely lots of musical elements where you get to shine on stage. How is that kind of bridging those two worlds into one very creative and very unique film such as this?
You wouldn't think that it would work. And it
Right.
should, I feel like it shouldn't work, but you have someone as talented as Caroline Lindy behind the camera, and she just did it, like she just decided that this was gonna be her debut feature film, and she wanted to take big swings and take a risk. And so I think she loves, she's a fan of horror films. She's a fan of Nora Ephron and rom-coms, and she's a fan of musicals. She grew up in New York, so she always says that the one place that she could see that women were allowed to be loud and messy and imperfect was in musicals. And so it made sense to her to combine all of the three. And for me, I was like, this is a dream role. Like this is all I've ever wanted in one.
I know, and I guess kind of mentioning Nora Ephron, as I was watching this, it kind of just made me think about so many of the rom-coms that I love, lots of those same similar tropes that show up. I guess for yourself, as you dive into rom-coms, what do you think really makes the best kind of rom-com?
I think it's all about the chemistry between the characters. I think when the chemistry is palpable, it it draws you in and
Mhm.
it makes you like root for them to be together, which is what you want out of a rom-com. Um, that's where it begins. And then I think a good story that can withstand the test of time, because I feel like nowadays there's a lot of chemistry and a lot of movies that are not memorable
Mhm.
because the story is either you've seen it or it's like too
Just eh.
too 2023, like so specific that you're like, oh, I'm gonna see this later and I'm gonna not, and I think Caroline did a great job in the whole aesthetic of the movie too, to make it feel a little bit timeless. Like if it
Mhm.
wasn't for the iPhones in a few of the scenes, this could be in the 90s. This could be, like everything about it, the costumes, the sets feel kind of atemporal. And I think that that's also key. Obviously, like I've it's been my dream, and I've always been searching for like another good rom-com, because I feel
Mhm.
like, you know, there's been some like good ones, but I feel like we always go back to the same ones. We always go back to like the 80s, 90s, even like maybe The Proposal in the
Mhm.
early 2000s as like the last like one that I still go back to watch. But
Mhm.
but I don't know. I hope that people fall in love with Monster and Laura, and that it becomes a what do you call it? A comfort movie for a lot of people.
Yes, and I mean, I feel like especially around this time of year, that's when I'm most kind of like really into watching rom-coms. I mean, of course, there's When Harry Met Sally with all of the fall autumnal vibes, but I do feel like your film can kind of enter that space too because of some of those Halloween references. Um, since you mentioned it has this very timeless feel to it, I feel like a lot of that also comes down to the prosthetics on Tommy's character, and I'm always so curious what it's like to interact in person with a character such as that. Is that a little intimidating to look at that?
I don't know, maybe I'm weird, but it wasn't weird for me. I mean, I saw Tommy as Monster arrive on set and I was like, cool, let's do this.
Let's do
It
it.
wasn't ever weird to me that he was wearing a monster mask, but and maybe it's because I didn't know Tommy from before. I
Hmm.
think maybe if I had known Tommy from before and I had like really known his face and attached it to his voice, maybe it would have been weirder. But because I literally met him like a few days before we started shooting, it was like, this is Tommy. And
This is
actually,
who he
like,
is.
yeah, this is who he is. And then actually, like after the movie was over and then we got together again, that was weird to me. When I saw him without his prosthetics and I heard his voice, his monster voice, and I was like, that's weird. Like weird. Like I miss Monster.
A little bit of like Beauty and the Beast going, where you finally see what the beast looks like, and you're like, oh, actually, let's go back.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Not that Tommy's not hot. Like Tommy is a beautiful man. But I was always that person. I was that person at the end of Beauty and the Beast that was like, actually, can we have the beast back, please?
Of course, since we are approaching Halloween, and this film does make some references with, of course, Bride of Frankenstein, lots of like werewolf inspired looks. I do have to ask, what are some of your favorite characters from that genre? Maybe some films that you like to visit during this time of year.
I'm like an old like Halloween Town and like Hocus
Me
Pocus,
too.
like my childhood Halloween movies that are not very scary, honestly. Like I kind of like the cozy Halloween vibes with like witchy things, but
Mhm.
not jump scary. It kind of I'm more into the the weather's changing and it feels like I want to like reminisce. Like there's something
Mhm.
nostalgic about this time of year. And so I
Mhm.
always kind of gravitate towards the movies of my childhood.
Do you remember Twitches with Tia and Tamara
Oh my
Mari when they like?
God.
Yes, yes.
I didn't, but now I do. Oh my God,
Love
yes.
that movie.
So good.
We get it. The
Yeah.
Disney girls over here get it. And I guess just to kind of wrap it up, I do have to say that throughout this film, especially toward the end, I found myself yelling "good for her" so many times because it's kind of a great final scene and final moment to just kind of step back and be like, oh, this is the damage that she's done. I kind of would love to hear from you, as you said, in these films, these women can take agency. They kind of let their emotions come out in this musical format. Was that kind of empowering for you to, after everything that this character went through, to finally scream to the rooftops, let the vengeance come out finally?
Yeah, it's very satisfying. It's a satisfying ending.
Mhm.
And I'm so happy that Caroline decided to end the movie this way. But also, what I love about what she did with the ending is that you know, you have the ending how it happens, and you have the audience reacting in the people that are watching her perform in the movie are all like freaking out and like not into it. And there was a moment for me that I was like, oh, I wonder if that's going to be like a downer for the end. But then I was like, well, they can't be celebrating her because she just murdered someone. But if the audiences watching the movie are celebrating her, then that's what we want.
Yeah.
So I feel like we achieved that in the times that I've sat through the movie. I've never experienced this before in my life where audiences are so vocal watching this movie,
Mhm.
and they clap and they whoop and they yell at the screen and they groan when Jacob does his things, and it's just the best. Like I feel like we did something cool because people are reacting so viscerally to it.
No, that's awesome. Like I said, I truly was like, honestly, I have to give her applause. That was great. Well,
That makes
thank you
me
so
happy.
much, Melissa, for your time. It was really a pleasure to chat with you.
Same here. Thank you so much.